Hello. What's going on today? I just sat down. We had elections yesterday here in Missouri, and I don't know if you're aware of that and what the results were, but in my area, um, things went pretty well. Things went pretty well. I got to admit, I'm in a small town here in Missouri, and we had for the last couple of years Uh, a mayor I'm not in the city limits. I'm just outside the city limits. And I'll be honest with you, if I was inside the city limits of this small town, St. Clair, Missouri, I would be running for mayor. I would have run because I couldn't do any worse with job. I really couldn't. I should have done, had I had the opportunity, I would have done it 2 years ago. But unfortunately, 2 years ago, a woman won. Her name is Cozy. Her last name is Cozy. She is pretty proud of the fact that she's a lesbian. She's got the lesbian haircut. She looks like a guy. Was totally unprepared for this job. Did a terrible job, in my opinion. And I think it seems like to me that just judging from what went on, just in my area, in Franklin County alone, I think people are becoming. I guess you'd call it. I think the pendulum is swinging back to the right. And it appears to me that people are getting a little sick of this DEI. And I know they don't call it that specifically, but we don't celebrate the fact that a woman and a lesbian got elected to an office. It seems like people are starting to say, you know what? I'll tell you who we need in this office. We need someone who's qualified, who can get some things done. Yeah. And I think that's the way to be. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. I don't care if you're lesbian. It doesn't make any difference. I don't care if you're Catholic, you're Jewish. It doesn't make me any difference. I don't care. As long as you can do your job. I've said that all along. I mean, when I'm flying in the plane, all I care about is that the pilot is qualified to do what he's supposed to do. If I'm having a tooth removed, I don't care what color you are, what religion you are, your political beliefs. I don't care. Same thing here. Same thing here. So we elected a man. His name is Dulworth. I know the family, but I don't know exactly everything about him. I think he's got some experience at this. We've got a new city administrator. That's a good thing. That's a good thing because the last mayor, Miss Cozy, she ran off 3 or 4 of them in a short period of time. No one could work with her. So city suffers. Okay. Same thing in a state situation. Well, for instance, St. Louis City, which is the majority are blacks in the city of St. Louis. I would say probably. I'm not sure the numbers, but it's pretty high. And last time, I guess 2 years ago, it was Tashira Jones. Tashira Jones. She was elected, black woman. Okay, totally unqualified. The city has gone down the toilet in the last 2 years to the point where no one wants to go downtown. Crime is rampant. Nothing's getting done. It's a mess. And I venture a guess to say that they're going to find tons and tons of corruption. That's just my guess. Now, she was beaten by a white woman who was an alderman. And I think that's great. I think that's great. A woman, I don't care. A qualified woman, I don't really care. Do they garner as much respect as a man? No, they don't. They don't. Going back to my local area, we have a new superintendent of schools. I can't remember what her name is, but it's a woman. And prior to this, it was a man who garnered respect and had the respect of the people he worked for. I know people that work there. They say Mr. Cruz, his name was Kyle Cruz, wonderful guy, seemed to know how to do the work. I thought the school was improving. We've now got I guess you'd call it a theater that's being built. It'd be completed here in the next month or so. And that was a positive for him. I know he was instrumental in doing that. But now you've got a woman doing it who I don't think is qualified for this job. And she is not garnering any respect from anyone. who works there, and that includes the teachers. So teachers are leaving, and that's going to hurt the school. It's going to hurt them. They may end up losing some of their funding, depending on the grades and the test scores. So my point here is, I would prefer to have someone who's qualified for this job, for any job for that matter, especially in a local government job, even a national. I mean, you got to have somebody that's qualified. It's that simple. You shouldn't just put them in there just because they're a woman. She's a woman. Does she garner the kind of respect a man would? I doubt it. I doubt it. So there you go. So I'm going back to St. Louis. Jones got beat, and I mean, she got beat decisively. I think it was 28 points. She got beat by 28 points. Now, mind you, she got beat by a white woman, and not just any white woman, a lily white woman, okay, who's an alderman. Now, that means that even the black community was sick of Jones, the woman. Tishira, I can't even say it. It's one of those black names. It's a Tishayra. I'm not even going to try it. But her dad was Vervis Jones, who was I think it was 1995. He was arrested and did some time for federal tax fraud. So apparently she knows all about corruption, and my guess is that she's probably they're probably going to find. My guess is the shredders are operating 24/7 right now. Would be my guess in the city hall, in the mayor's office. Something else that happened here in the area in Franklin County is, and this is the one that really bothered me the most, and that was East Central College. They were proposing, it wasn't so much a bond issue, it was more of from what I understand, because they didn't come out and explain this very well, East Central College and the people on the board did not do much of a job of selling this, okay? They tried this once before. It was last year. They tried to get this passed. And from what I understand it was basically it was moving money from one account to the other in order to pay their bills, in order to do repairs and this kind of thing. Now, mind you, this college has been around since 1971, and it would be a real blow for our area here in Franklin County if that school were to close, or if it had to cut back. It's going to be a real blow to the area. So you would think that the people on the board of directors of East Central College would do a little bit of salesmanship. Try to go out and explain the situation and how we're wanting to do this, why we're wanting to do this, and that it's really not going to raise your taxes. That was what everybody was worried about, and I don't blame them. But they didn't do a very good job. I didn't see anything. The last time this happened, I talked to a friend of mine who's on the board, and he said, Damon, they really didn't know what they were doing. They thought that this would pass with no questions asked. Well, times have changed. We all know that. Times have changed dramatically. It's gotten to the point now where colleges, for the most part, have a negative. I guess you would look at them negatively now. Most people, because of the cost, number one, and because of what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. The school's political views, which they have no problem expressing. The teachers themselves are lefties for the most part. They're liberal, and they're not just liberal. They're radical liberal. So people have a negative view of colleges. And I don't care what level. This college is not like, let's say, Columbia, okay, where they're doing protests about Hamas and the Palestinian issues. They're not doing that, as far as I know. Now, I could be dead wrong on this. It's not like I attend there, and I don't have anybody attending there, so I don't really know if that's the case. But I have not seen any news or any stories about any kind of protest or anything. It's a small college. It really is. I mean, it's a stone's throw from my home. It's nice to have it here, though. It's a real asset for the area. But the interesting thing is, I think things are changing. Times are changing. People don't see college as something that's necessary anymore, especially at the price that they're charging for this. I saw the other day, what was it? I looked up the highest paid deans in the country. One was from Columbia. There were 10 of them. The number one made $4 million a year. Number two made $2 million a year. And it went down to the number 10th, the 10th person made, I think, $800,000 a year. And these were all Ivy League schools, of course. But I don't know that anyone deserves $4 million a year for doing administrative work. Okay. So, needless to say, people see this on TV. They see the protests that are going on. They see the attitudes that these college kids have gotten. They realize that college, that attitude has been, I guess, cultivated by the professors, and people are just sick of it. So, hence, we get a no vote, and it lost by several points. It wasn't even close. And unfortunately, the people on the board didn't do much of a job of selling this. If it had been me, I would have had interviews being, posted on their Facebook page, explaining the whole situation. I would have had town halls. I would have had question and answers, all of that, if you really wanted this to pass. So apparently they didn't. It didn't. Maybe they wanted it to pass and they just thought it would, just out of just because we're a college and we've always gotten what we wanted. It's kind of like the ambulance districts and the firefighters. They put these issues up, especially for more funding, and they just assume that it's going to pass. I think it's a mistake, but I think overall times are changing, and I think it's funny also that you've got this movement in the United States right now. We're all pissed off about Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and Elon Musk is finding all this corruption and all this silly spending and money that we're just giving away, and the corruption and all that. And people are saying, "Oh, they're destroying our democracy. They're destroying our democracy." No, they're not doing that. And what do you give a rat's ass about democracy anyway? I mean, in Franklin County yesterday, 17% of eligible voters made it to the polls. That's it. 17%. 17% of eligible voters made it to the polls. That's ridiculous. That is democracy. That is your democracy right there. That is democracy at its most basic form, is your ability to vote on things. And people don't even take advantage of it. But they'll sit and piss and moan about Elon Musk finding this corruption and trying to cut costs. But we won't vote. I think it's hilarious. People are such hypocrites when it comes to that. And I'm not saying you have to go to every election. There were only two things on the ballot yesterday when I voted. One was the East Central issue, and another one was school board. And listen, folks, school board's a big deal, okay? And that was another interesting thing. There were two men and one woman. The woman came in third, okay? Third. Yeah, she did not make the cut. Now, why is that? Why is that? Is there a change going on in the world today? Is that what's going on? Because I know there are qualified people out there. There are qualified women. There are. But have we gotten to the point where we've put so many unqualified women in positions of power, and it turned into a disaster that most people aren't willing to take that risk anymore? I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. So, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Do we continue down this pathway? I don't know. It sounds like we're going to. I think you're going to see less, because they talk about the glass ceiling, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton. Well, guys, come on. In the last two election cycles, well, actually, 3 election cycles. Yeah, 3 election cycles. 2016, 2020, and 2024. We had women running in 2 of those 3. Okay. In 2 of those 3, protocol was not followed. There was no concession speech made at either one of the two of the three. Okay. All right. And they were both women. Now, does that mean that they're emotional and they can't handle this? I don't know. I just find it odd. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Hillary Clinton would not come out and give a concession speech in 2016. She refused to. She was going to do it the next day. She had Podesta come out and do it. And then Kamala Harris, instead of coming out at Brown University and conceding, she knew she'd lost. She had one of her cohorts, one of her flunkies, come out and give some lame ass excuse why she wasn't going to be there. I don't think that's a good idea. It's not a good look for women. Okay, it's just not. It's just not. It's not a good look. It makes you look weak. Okay, so as far as elections cycle's concerned, April is over. We're moving on, but I see a distinct shift in culture and our social network here. I've noticed that comedians are making more fun of transsexuals. You can use the word retarded once again without being, canceled. They make fun of everything now. They make fun of women. They make fun of men. They make fun of blacks. I think it's great. Make fun of everybody. We're all susceptible. Jeez. So anyway, moving on from there, I wanted to talk about the tariff situation and what Donald Trump has been doing over the past 5-6 days. I've got him. There's a speech. He's being asked some questions here, and I thought it was kind of interesting because they're trying to catch him in a flip-flop situation, which I thought was ridiculous. Listen to this. Let me get this started.
Administration, no pause. Was this idea of doing a pause, did that just come about this morning? Can you tell us exactly what came into consideration for you and your advisors?
For a period of time, I wouldn't say this morning. Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it. I've been dealing with Scott, with Howard, with some other people that are very professional. And I think it probably came together fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up. We didn't have the use of, we didn't have access to lawyers, or we just wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart. And I think it was well written too, but it was written from the heart. It was written as something that I think was very positive for the world and for us.
You see what he's doing there? He's dismissing what she was getting at. She was trying to imply that we said we weren't going to back off on any of these tariffs, and then today we did. Well, here's the thing I like about Trump. First of all, I love the way he speaks. I do. He talks like I do. It'd be like me sitting there. He's not polished. He's just as genuine as they come. He's like, hey, we didn't even have lawyers do it. We just wrote it up. Yeah, we did good. Yeah. So I love this guy. Okay. And what he's saying is, now I'm not sure you're aware of this, but he has 70 countries contacted the United States. 70. And I think there's only 130 in the world. So 70 of them came to him and said, hey, look, we want to negotiate about this tariff thing, man. Don't cut us off. Don't hammer us. Do you mind? And so he said, hey, these people are trying to make an effort to negotiate this so that it's fair for everyone. And we're going to push this down the road a little bit. We're going to give you 90 days. We're going to try and get this all settled. I think it's a wonderful idea. Why wouldn't you do that? That shows someone who's got some sense. Okay. You just don't take a stand and it's non-negotiable. It's not a good idea, especially in issues like this. So let's listen to the rest of it.
And we don't want to hurt countries that don't need to be hurt. And
I like that. He doesn't want to hurt countries that don't need to be hurt. Exactly.
don't want to negotiate. The only problem is, you can only do so many at one time. We want to do it right. We want to get it right. We want to take care of them, but we have to take care of our country. So, but this was something certainly we've been talking about for a period of time, and we decided about it. I didn't know it would have that kind of an impact, but it's, I think you have the biggest increase in the history of the stock market. That's pretty good. You're almost, if you keep going, you're going to be back to where it was 4 weeks ago. But it was a sick market 4 weeks ago, because the trade was sick. It was only a question of time. I don't blame the tariffs. I think the tariffs just sort of magnified what was happening. It was sick.
I don't know if I'm on here still or not. What has happened here?